Good afternoon. We're coming back from our morning recess for consideration of two land use items today. Emily, could you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Thayer? Here. Commissioner Richardson?
Here.
Commissioner Schroeder?
Here.
Thank you.
All righty, we have a quorum. It's 1 p.m. We're back in session. As I said, we had two items to hear today. One is or two subjects, I guess, three hearings. First is a use by special review for a dog kennel facility, and the second two relate to 1041 and an SUR for Core Electric. But I guess, Danny, you're presenting the first case? Okay. So generally, we go in the same process for all the hearings. Staff will present the application and recommendations from staff and the Planning Commission. We may have questions at that time or pass on to allow the additional comments from the applicant themselves. Again, may have questions at that point. Once we've kind of heard what we feel we need to hear, we'll open for public comment, and then after public comment, we may have additional questions. We'll certainly want staff or applicant to answer any issues brought up by the public, and then at that point we'll proceed to a decision, which could be to continue if we feel we don't have enough information to come to a decision, to approve with conditions, or disapprove an application. So regardless of zoning, subdivision, SUR 1041, all of our hearings run generally the same. But with that, I would ask for a motion to open public hearing on our first item.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to open public hearing on Bark and Barn SUR 23-3984.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to open public hearing on the Bark and Barn SUR. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. So Danny, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, commissioners. Good afternoon, everyone here. My name is Danny Klebanner. I'm a land use planner for the Community and Economic Development Department here in Elbert County. Today, I'll be presenting Bark and Barn, which is an SUR, case number SUR-23-3984. So the details for this is a special use by review for a dog boarding / dog kennel business. And this will be on an agricultural residential zone piece of property that's about 11.3 acres. And the SUR size will be about 0.63 acres, and again, to establish dog boarding and dog kennel. And the location is 39841 Swift Creek Circle, Elizabeth, Colorado 80107. So this process started back in April of last year with a pre-application meeting. The applicant is CC Garza. There was a community meeting held May 17th, 2023 that nobody attended, but they held that. The application was formally submitted October 3rd, 2023, and the first hearing was the Planning Commission February 6th, and then here today, the 28th, for the Board of County Commissioners. All noticing complied with Elbert County zoning regulations 14-day advance notice with a posting in Ranchland News on the 18th of January, on-site sign posting January 22nd, and quarter-mile radius mailing that same day. The location of this property is south of 166 and east of County Road 13. It's about 5 miles from Elizabeth, and it is in a relatively more populated area of the county, just miles from large subdivisions like Independence, Thunder Hill, Deer Creek Ranches, and Spring Valley Ranch. Here is a zoning map. You can see just to the north, there is a mobile home residential zone with about 5-acre parcels. That's across Diamond Acres subdivision. To the south and east, you have agriculture with about a 227-acre parcel with 2 residences, agricultural ranch lands and floodplain. To the west, you have this subdivision, which is agricultural residential with about 11-acre residences just to the west. Here's a view from the west, an aerial map, and you can see the subject property outlined with the red box there. And Swift Creek Circle is a private road which will serve the SUR as well as the existing residents. So, as I said before, this is zoned agricultural residential, and there's a residential land use. The proposed zoning and land use will continue to be agricultural residential, and there are no proposed changes to the zoning. Special use area would be added to allow a dog boarding and kennel business. The SUR will be accessed through extending the existing driveway that serves the residents. The property is accessible via Swift Creek Circle, which is a private road. Here are some details for the business. It will be a commercial dog kennel that will be open year-round, days Monday through Sunday. Hours for picking up and dropping off dogs will vary day to day, or depending on the day, with 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, Saturday 7 a.m. to 5, and Sunday 9 to 5. CC estimates there will be 5 employees with 2 people on site to manage the dog during business hours. And again, this will have about 20 kennels for use. Here's an overview of the site plan. This is a little harder to see, so I'll zoom in here a little bit. Their Barkin Barn there, you can see on the left with a small parking area. It will have that fenced-in play area that's will be screened by the barn itself. And the setbacks for this, it'll be set back about 84 feet from the side property line and 110 feet from the front. Going through the referral responses, Elizabeth Fire approved, except for they said there shall be no retail, and that has to do with the accessory use of classification of this building. It's not classified as a mercantile. It'll be more in the category of an agricultural building like a horse boarding, for example. That's why they requested no retail use. Colorado Division of Water Resources commented, and the plan right now is to do a bulk water purchasing plan. So the applicant will, at least in the beginning, not be using any well water. They'll be doing bulk water purchasing to serve the business. And that just made the most sense from a financial standpoint and from a startup standpoint. And the Division of Water Resources stated the intentions of the water user are clear, and it appears Foothills Water is willing to provide water. So I do not have any issue showing how the applicant will legally provide water for their commercial uses. And then finally, Colorado Department of Agriculture stated that the applicant will be required to be licensed under the state's Pet Animal Care and Facilities Act, known as PACFA, as a boarding and training facility. So that will be done prior to the business opening. No objections are outstanding from any other contacted referral agency. So our evaluation here, we find it appropriate for a kennel, boarding or breeding and training land use, which would require an SUR for the ag residential zone. This location near 2 main roads in Elbert County is positioned well to serve dog owners in northwest Elbert County. Barkin Barn will need to purchase water for the animals and will not be allowed to use their residential well to serve the dogs. Barkin Barn will need to receive its license from Colorado's Pet Animal Care and Facilities Act before opening. And here are the 8 criteria that the Board of County Commissioners are to consider in review of special use by review cases. Whether the use is in harmony and compatible with the surrounding area and neighborhood. This special use by review to add a dog boarding business is in harmony and compatible with the neighborhood. The larger lot context of the neighborhood with a mixture of agricultural and residential uses blends well with the proposed kennel. The nearest residence to the Bark and Barn will be about 500 feet away. There will be a small fenced-in play area for the dogs to minimize any potential noise to neighbors and limit the dogs' movement on the property. B, whether the use will not have an undue burden on available infrastructure. Bark and Barn will be accessed from a private road and then from a private driveway. Elbert County Road and Bridge did not have any concerns with the addition of this business. The adjacent county road is not anticipated to be burdened by this proposal. C, whether the use will not unduly increase traffic congestion or burden the existing road system. Elbert County Public Works Department reviewed the application and had no objection. D, whether the use will not cause significant air, odor, water, noise, or light pollution. The uses proposed are not believed to cause any significant forms of pollution, and the waste will be removed. E, whether all sanitation requirements will be met. Elbert County Public Health reviewed the application, and the applicant provided up-to-date information on the septic system. No other comments were made by Public Health. F, whether the use will be adequately landscape buffered and screened. This proposed structure will fit into the context of this area. It will appear like many of the existing accessory buildings in the area. The dog play area will be behind the new structure and fenced to keep the dogs from moving freely about the property. And then we finally have G and H, whether the use will not otherwise be detrimental to the health, safety, or welfare of the present or future inhabitants of Elbert County. This use should not be detrimental to Elbert County residents. Dog boarding and kennels are valuable services to the community, and this business will support residents with dogs and contribute an important service to the community. Finally, whether supplemental standards are met for specific uses. Animal care supplemental standards are met for this application, and if approved, the applicant will be required to receive their license from Colorado PACFA. So findings from Elbert County Planning, we recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve this SUR, case number SU-23-3984, and this will be subject to the following conditions. The applicant will be required to remove the public hearing sign within 7 days of the decision. The the special use by review will not become effective until all fees are paid. Sorry about that. Recordation of all appropriate documents is to occur within 180 days. The structure must be permitted by the building and fire department. Impact fees must be paid before issuance of a building permit. I think it's fair to assess this in the warehouse, storage, agricultural category of non-residential development. The applicant must retain records and receipts of bulk water purchases, and the applicant must be licensed through PACFA prior to opening. So that is it for this presentation. This was Bark and Barn SUR-23-3984. Thank you for your time.
Do we have any questions for staff at this time? Just a couple for you, Danny. For the community hearing, was said nobody attended. Was there a weather issue? Obviously, you said it was advertised properly. So
yeah,
just
I don't believe there was any issue. Laura, who was the previous planner, attended it, and nobody in the community was around. It was I think a normal day, and just
a reflection of lack of concern.
Yeah, nobody was concerned.
And then the other, just for the Planning Commission, what was the vote on that?
I think there were 5 present, and it was 5 all in favor.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that, I'd invite the applicant, if present, to, all righty, ma'am, if you, okay, then we would just have one question for you, I guess, if you don't have anything else to act on. If you could put up the conditions of approval, Danny. If we were to approve you accept those conditions? Okay. Do you have any questions or comments? No, it seems very straightforward. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Open for public comment at this point. Do we have any public comment on this item? Nobody had provided any comment by email or wish to be phoned. Okay, so with that, I'll close public comment and open.
Just had a question for staff, or clarification, really. I appreciate you reaching out to Elizabeth Fire to clarify the issue of having a retail store with there. And that it's not, this could never occur, but it would have to go back through the process again for approval. And basically, if I read the emails correctly, it's because of the amount of water suppression, the difference between having a retail area versus not.
Yeah, so the fire flow requirements are different based on the classification of the building. And I think based on the applicant and the discussions that were had, it made the most sense to go the kind of lower classification instead of, I think, with higher fire flow requirements. The impact fees might be higher, and there may be a requirement to like sprinkler the building, different things like that were not included in this project. Yeah,
I appreciate you checking on that, and just wanted to make sure that we weren't going to say you can never have retail in this if the applicant changed their mind, that there is an avenue to go down that. It's just would take additional.
Yeah, I don't think Elbert County would have any issue with it as long as the fire flow requirements were being met.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you following up on that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Just one quick question, and I didn't see it in there when I read it, is that when they had the Planning Commission hearing, were there any objections?
There were no objections.
So with that, I would accept a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve Bark & Barn SUR 233984 with the conditions of approval as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the application with the conditions that were provided by staff. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. I would accept a motion to close public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to close public hearing on Bark & Barn SUR 23-3984.
Second.
A motion and a second to close public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We're out of public hearing. Well, congratulations, ma'am. Well, please do. It's always good to see a new business start in the county. So are we ready to proceed directly? Okay. So this will be handled as 2 separate hearings. So I'd ask for a motion first to open public hearing on Core Electric Cooperative Minor 1041.
Mr. Chairman, I move we open the hearing on Core Electric Cooperative Minor 1041.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to open public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. We're in public hearing. Mark, I'll turn it over to you initially. We're going to do this as two separate.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, I'm Mark Denreader, Director of Community and Economic Development. We have our contract planner, Sandra Hoffman, who is going to be presenting both the 1041 and the SUR cases for Core Electric. And Sandra, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Board of County Commissioners. As Mark had said, I'm Sandra Hoffman. I'm a senior associate with Logan Simpson. I'm the contract planner for Elbert County, and I'll be presenting on these 2 items. I'll be sharing my screen now, and you should hopefully be able to see the slideshow momentarily. All right. Let me know if you can't see it, if there's a problem or anything of that nature or concern.
No, it is displayed. Thank you.
Wonderful. So this is the Core Miner 1041 System Improvement Project. The case number is 1041-2023-0174. So the request is for an area of 5.7 miles of overhead power lines with two substations. It'll be located along County Road 174 between Kiowa Bennett Road and County Road 21. There's multiple landowners along the way, and as it was mentioned, the applicant is Core Electric Cooperative. So the pre-application meeting was held on April the 20th of 23. The formal submittal for referral did move forward starting on November 29th, and they completed all the referral comments and addressed the comments. I'll cover a little bit more of that later. They had a planning commission hearing on February the 6th. I'll go through those results, but it was approved. It was recommendation for approval. And then, of course, today is the Board of County Commissioners hearing. There's several vicinity maps you're going to see. I think just kind of gives you an idea of the location and the scope of the work that's happening. The first one is just an aerial view with the sort of the purple color that shows you the overhead lines and sort of a yellowish letters outlining the two substations, Outback Substation and Spring Valley Substation. This vicinity map is a little bit different. It just shows you more of the development that's visible that currently exists. So it's kind of a little bit of an aerial with you can see that some development in there in roadway systems. And this last one with different colored areas, it's just showing you some of the existing developments that are there as well as proposed future developments. So you can kind of see in proximity the growth of things that are occurring, that exist and are proposed within the vicinity of this project. The existing zoning and land uses within the area are agricultural prominently with 35-acre or larger lots, residential, again, is bigger size lots, and then plan unit development. So there's several developments along there, including Spring Valley Ranch development, Sun Country Meadows, and a proposed Morstead development project. I'm going to show you some images of the substations. These are just sort of an overhead view looking down so you can kind of see where the substation equipment is, the access roads, and there's some fencing around it. So this one is the Spring Valley Substation. It's going to be located between County Road 21 and Hunt Circle, basically on about an 8-acre parcel. Then the Outback Substation, it's adjacent to the Kiowa Brick Center transmission line. It's just south of County Road 174, and it's on an approximate 10-acre parcel that's zoned agricultural. So we sent the referrals out, as I mentioned. There was really very few objections or comments. In fact, no objections. And the comments that did come in had been addressed, and there's a list of the agencies that did the review and provided opportunity for comment. The Core Miner 1041 application meets the vision and goals of the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan. And what I'll go through now is just some of the parts of the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan that specifically support this proposed project. First, for land use, the county should require that public land dedications include adequate water, sewer, and utilities. So the Core Special Use Permit, Special Improvement Project will ensure adequate power for development. Natural resources in the comprehensive plan, all development, including residential, industrial, and commercial and public utilities, should be designed and constructed in a manner that is respectful to the environment. As we'll go through later, the referral ensured that it is considerate of the environment with the work that they're proposing and the improvement. So it minimizes impacts to agricultural lands and open space, and it will be located along County Road 174. Another natural resource vision and goal is that the development should minimize negative impacts. And again, as I mentioned, it is having minimal impacts to agricultural lands and open space. And the wildlife goal is that the county should evaluate the effect of proposed development on wildlife. And the Core 1041 project has addressed all of the Colorado Parks and Wildlife requirements. Another one is that they should encourage energy conservation strategies, energy efficiency in design, and renewable energy. Well, the Core 1041 Miner project is needed to provide reliable power for the residents and businesses in the area. And then economic growth kind of goes further into that, where the project is needed to support the economic growth for providing reliable electricity for existing and future businesses and residents. The other part of the code would be in the zoning ordinance, and there's general approval criteria. I'll go through those fairly quickly. There's quite a few with the 1041 application. So the documentation that was provided, verifies that they met all the conditions in here, including the water quality and supply, which really isn't that, doesn't address, it doesn't need that much water for this type of a project. It's not going to cause significant natural hazards. It's in conformity with with the master plans, which I mentioned. They have several PUD developments along it that it will be working with. It will not have a significant adverse impact on the local government providing the services. In fact, it's providing a utility service to help support the county. They have included the design and operation and decommissioning plans that are needed, and all the project requirements were met. It will not degrade the environment, and it will not negatively impact the high priority habitat. Again, the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Service did the review of the project and agreed that it met their conditions and their requirements. The project will not cause a nuisance as defined in Elbert County Land Use and Development Code. It will not degrade areas paleontological, historical, or archaeological importance, and it's designed to serve areas within the county to meet the demands that are going to be happening as the population increases. So then there's some general approval criteria. The proposed project will not be unreasonable release of chemicals, hazardous materials, anything of that nature, and so that item has been addressed. And then in Appendix A, there's some concerns that the Board of County Commissioners may consider when you're looking at a minor 1041. And again, there's pretty much a long, exhaustive list here, but I will go through it. The considerations include the technical and financial capability of the project, the risk from natural hazards, effects on the capability of the local government to provide the services, the financial burden, the sector of the local economy, recreational opportunities, and supporting even ones that don't occur currently in the county. Environmental considerations, they looked at the ambient air quality, visibility, microclimates, and they looked at the vegetation and, again, trying to minimize impact to those. Surface water, groundwater, wetlands, and riparian areas were considered. There is one floodplain that they're crossing on an overhead power line, so it minimizes the impact to what currently is there for the floodplain. The impact on aquatic life. Again, all of this is in reports that they provided. Soils and geological conditions, and hazardous materials again. So staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners find the following: that the proposed minor 1041 application is in general conformance with the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan. The proposed minor 1041 application meets all the criteria for approval in the Elbert County zoning regulations. The proposed 1041 is generally compatible with existing and allowable land uses in the surrounding area, and the proposed minor 1041 will not result in significant impact to the health, safety, and welfare of the residents, landowners, and surrounding area. So the Planning Department recommends approval to the Board of County Commissioners with 5 conditions for case number 1041-2023-0174. The Planning Commission recommended approval by a vote of 5-0 with 5 conditions to the Board of County Commissioners for the core minor 1041 application as well. So the 5 conditions that must be met. The applicant will be required to remove the public hearing signs within 7 days of a decision. The minor 1041 permit shall not become effective until all fees are paid and the resolution recorded. The special use by review application must be approved. That's the next case that you'll have, and recorded. The applicant will file with the county a financial security within 180 days of the decision. And the 5th one is the applicant must submit formal applications to Elbert County for a site development plan and a minor plat for each of the 2 substations, Outbat and Spring Valley, within 180 days of the Board of County Commissioners' decision. This stipulation came out of the stipulation that they had to meet for a variance because they didn't meet the spacing requirements from existing residential development, and the Board of Adjustment approved that with that stipulation. So this stipulation is somewhat following up on that stipulation that they already have from that variance application and approval. So the motion language, if you would like to use it, is here. It's just motion to approve the case for the 1041 permit with 5 conditions located along Kiowa Bennett Road and County Road 21. And with that, thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any questions for staff at this time? No? Okay. I'd like to invite the applicant up at this point to provide any other additional information.
Yes, I have a presentation. Right. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present at the Board of County Commissioners meeting this afternoon. My name is Brooke Hines, and I work with Burns & McDonnell, representing CORE. So I'll be presenting on the CORE Elbert County System Improvement Project 1041 application. CORE is a nonprofit cooperative serving 11 Colorado counties with over 175,000 members. CORE's territory covers 5,000 square miles and serves the northwestern portion of Elbert County. CORE provides electric power to more than 375,000 residents, making CORE the largest rural electric cooperative in Colorado. The Elbert County System Improvement Project consists of a new double-circuit 115 kV transmission line and 2 new substations, Spring Valley and Outback. The transmission line is approximately 5.7 miles long and a 75-foot right-of-way and will interconnect with the existing CORE Kiowa Brick Center 115 kilovolt transmission line. Transmission line pole heights will range from 80 feet to 100 feet with average spans between the poles of 400 to 500 feet. Ideally, CORE can operate each of its substations at half of their available capacity. In the event a substation needs to be shut down for maintenance, the load can be transferred to another substation in the area so that service to CORE's members continues uninterrupted. However, the 3 CORE substations in the vicinity of the project, Homestead, Elizabeth, and Kiowa, are each currently operating at over 50% of their available capacity due to increasing demand from existing members as well as new development in the area that is connecting to CORE's existing system. The substations operating at over 50% capacity create a reliability issue for existing CORE members in the area. CORE's existing infrastructure cannot meet the demands of the proposed and recent development in the loading areas. The project is in an area that is expected to experience the greatest degree of population growth and development in the county, according to the November 2022 Elbert County Housing Needs Assessment Report. Without the additional electricity that will be provided by the project, only a small percentage of the needed units can be accommodated. The project will improve overall distribution service in the area, provide additional capacity and reduce outages, and accommodate current and anticipated growth in the development area. The Elbert County Comprehensive Plan acknowledges this emerging community pattern, stating, "It is expected that the majority of the western population of the county will continue to experience further subdivision of lands as population growth continues to shift to more people from the Denver metro. The project is proposed within an area as illustrated in the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan projected growth pressures map that is expected to experience the greatest degree of population growth and development in the county. Additional electrical infrastructure is needed to support this development. The project will shift loading from the overloaded substations, increasing reliability. The Spring Valley substation will provide electricity through distribution feeders to existing developments, including Elkhorn Ranch, Sun Country Meadows, Spring Valley, TNM Ranches, and Miller Ranch, as well as the proposed Morstead and EC West developments. The Outback substation will shift loading from the Kiowa substation and provide power to the EC East development. Corps completed a routing and siting study for multiple substation sites and 4 routes. The Spring Valley substation location was based on accommodation from the Morstead development. However, this accommodation was limited to siting the substation within one of the 3 areas designated for commercial mixed use, which collectively accounted for only 9% of the proposed subdivision. Elbert County staff requested that substations should not be placed at intersections, eliminating 2 of the commercial mixed-use areas. Elbert County staff also requested that the substation be sited on the north end of the property to allow potential future commercial development to the south along the proposed extension of County Road 174. Transmission line route siting included 4 alternatives. All were partially located within the quarter-mile of the existing Spring Valley subdivision. 3 were partially located within a quarter-mile of Sun Country Meadows subdivision. The alternate that avoided routing within a quarter-mile of Sun Country Meadows was eliminated as it resulted in more difficult engineering and additional easements and crossed craft agency's main entrance into EC West along County Road 29. A variance was approved, as Sandra mentioned, in August 2023. Corps presented at a September 2021 BOCC meeting to introduce the project and study area, the various preliminary substation locations and routes, and to discuss siting the Spring Valley substation in the Morstead, at that time known as Deer Valley Development. Corps presented at a second BOCC meeting in June 2022 to introduce the project, revise study area, various substation and route locations, and to discuss the Spring Valley substation siting in the Morstead development. I updated the timeline, as you see up there, to include the Planning Commission hearing this past February the 6th. Corps has a project website and has held 2 open houses in October 2022 and March 2023. Corps has also had multiple briefings with developers and local groups such as Elbert County Environmental Alliance. In August 2022, Elbert County Board, as I mentioned earlier, approved a variance for the project. Public hearing noticing for the project was done through a mailer to landowners, newspaper announcement, and sign postings in the project area. And as Sandra mentioned earlier, in our 1041 application, we went through all the general approval criteria and met the approval criteria, so I will not read all these. I have 2 slides of them. Second slide of them as well. The green check marks mean that we have met those. And lastly is our anticipated schedule for construction. As you can see, the anticipating Spring Valley substation construction starting in late summer of 2024, the transmission line following in the fall to spring of 2025, both of those in service spring of 2025, and Outback is slated later for 2028 construction, in service 2029. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have any questions or comments for the applicant?
I've got a simple question. Is this, what you're asking for us to approve, increases the distribution of the electricity? But the line that it's coming off, does it have enough electricity source there to supply this additional need?
So the distribution feeders would be separate from this, but this is for the double circuit transmission line and the 2 substations.
Yeah, I understand that, but what I'm going with, will the distribution have enough power to supply?
I will let Brooks Kaufman answer. He's a Corps representative.
We'll make it a little confusing. There's Brooke, and then there's Brooks. I'm Brooks Kaufman with Corps Electric Cooperative. I'm the Lands and Rightsway Manager, so I can answer that question. Yeah, our transmission line's a 115 kV. It is meant to provide power to these substations, and yes, when it goes down from the 115 down to our working operation for distribution, there is going to be enough capacity to serve the existing community and also the future. So that's the intent of this project, is really concentrating on the local subdivisions and the future rate in that area for both these substations and the transmission line.
No, that's it.
I guess my question would be on the properties that are anticipated to be crossed. Have you negotiated or discussed with landowners? Are they amenable? Yeah, please.
Again, Brooks Kaufman with Core Electric Cooperative. Yes, we are working with the landowners. There is 2 landowners that are still outstanding, and it's the Younglands. We've been working with them on that. They're on vacation right now. They were supposed to sign the easement document. We're just waiting for them to come back on vacation. Then Severland, our final offer went out today to them, and we're expecting them to sign that. But there is one complication, and that is at the Morstead property. It's been going through bankruptcy hearings, and as of yesterday, we filed our petition to condemn for the substation property and an easement on that to resolve that matter with their creditors and debtors.
I appreciate that. I guess at this point, I'll open for public comment. Do we have any public comment in the room? Sir, if you could. Yeah, please, if you could. Just identify yourself and your address for the record.
My name is Stephen D. Spar. I live at 7813 County Road 174. I'm just up from the intersection of 29 and 174. T&M Ranches used to be a part of the original property, but it was divided off by my sister. So I wasn't, it doesn't seem like I was included in any of the discussion of the inconvenience of everything on my area. I still have a transmission line on the north side of 174, but I don't know if that's going to remain in existence or it's going to be included in the new transmission lines for my power coming off of that. So there is a question on that. And like I said, I've never been formally introduced to anybody to have a conversation as to my desires of the way the transmission line and the towers are placed, because it's going to interfere with, quote, my vision of the mountain ranges and everything else that goes with the amenities of my property. So that was my question in the general, to see why I wasn't contacted as to be included. I was told by the Planning Commission at one time I wasn't a subdivision, but I'm bordered by, going to be 2 subdivisions now. So I'd like to, that was my address to the question.
I would. Thank you. Do we have any other public comment? And I don't believe we had anybody that wanted to be contacted or had sent email comment. So Brooke or Brooks, if you would like to address Mr. Spar's comments.
Yeah, I can answer his first question. The existing power line that's along the north side, that's a distribution power line that's at 12.4 kV, so quite a bit smaller than the transmission line. The transmission line will be on the south side of 174, and so that will remain overhead on the north side for the distribution for the develops on that side for Sun Country and T&M Ranches. And then his second question, we did have the 2 open houses on the project, and I do remember speaking with this gentleman on, I think it was in the first hearing, and we just were presenting our routing options, and then we had the second one which finalized the routing options. So it didn't directly impact him, so we didn't reach out to him as a specific property owner where it was a direct impact, so that's where we would leave that at.
So the existing supply line on the north side remains. This
Yes.
will be a distribution.
Yep.
On the south? Okay.
Transmission will be on the south, and the distribution will be on the north.
Okay, thank you.
Which is the shorter poles. They're only about 40 feet tall, where transmission line will be anywhere from 85 to...
Will be a higher?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Sir, I will, allow one follow-up, but oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, generally, we just ask for comment and respond, so, okay. I'd invite you after the hearing, you can continue the dialogue with them if you wish. Alrighty, so with that, I'll close public comment. Do we have any additional questions or comments for the applicant or staff? Seeing none, I'd accept a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the Core Electric Cooperative Minor 1041 application.
No, with conditions?
With the conditions of approval.
And I guess we'll take a second. But
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. I would like the applicant just to respond for the record whether you accept the conditions of approval. Thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second form. The applicant has accepted the conditions, so all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. So with that, we'll close the hearing on the minor 1041. I'd accept a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we close the hearing on Electric Cooperative Minor 1041.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to close public hearing on this item. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. All righty, we have a use by special review associated with this 1041 application, and there will be opportunity for public comment during this as well. So, with that, I'll turn this back over to Sandra at Logan Simpson. But first, we'll open the hearing. So I would accept a motion to open hearing on the Core Electric Cooperative use by special review.
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, we had a motion and a second to open public hearing on the use by special review presented by Core Electric Cooperative. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So, oops, sorry. Now, Sandra, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I will get the PowerPoint going here. All right, can you see the PowerPoint? Do you have any issues with the PowerPoint?
Oh, it is displayed. We can see it here in the room. Thank you.
It is displayed. Wonderful. All right, well, thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Board of County Commission members. This is for the Core Special Use by Review, case number SU 2023-0174. Again, it's the same location as the previous minor 1041, 5.7 miles of overhead power lines with 2 substations along the County Road 174 between Kiowa Bennett Road and County Road 21. Multiple landowners, and again, the special use by review application. They had the pre-application meeting on April the 20th, and their planning commission hearing was on February the 6th, and it was approved by the, recommended approval by the planning commission. I'll go through that a little bit later. This vicinity map is the one you saw before. It just kind of shows in general the development in proximity to the proposed development. So the red line in the red font is showing you the location of the new line and the new 2 substations. Existing zoning, land uses, as I already said, it was pretty much agricultural based and plan unit development. There are some existing developments along the route, and those are listed there for some master plan communities. This is the image of the Spring Valley substation that you saw earlier, and this is the image of the Outback substation that you saw previously as well. All comments for the referrals have been addressed. You know, there was either no objection, and if there was comments, those have been addressed. The review for the special use by review for the comprehensive plan shows that as you go through what we had already, land use and natural resource goals and visions for the comp plan have been met, providing adequate power, not impacting agricultural lands or open space, minimizing impacts again to the open space and agricultural land, the Colorado Parks and Wildlife Service support of the project and addressing any concerns for that. The project is needed to provide reliable power to the residents, which meets some of the conditions that are in the comprehensive plan. Economic growth will be supported by the reliable electricity provided, as well, as the future businesses and residents, assuring that they have this reliability of utility. The Article 3, Section E5 is a special use by review approval criteria in the zoning regulations. As you saw before with the animal, kennel, the first case you had, there are 8 conditions they need to be met. The use is in harmony and compatible with the surrounding area and neighborhood. And again, the transmission line is going to follow County Road 174, and the Spring Valley subdivision or substation, will be within what might be the future Morstead mixed-use development, or they're moving forward because of that bankruptcy issue, but that they've got it set back from this road a little ways, and we'll be working with them in the future for how that might go forward with the site plan and so on. The use will not have undue burden on available infrastructure. The transmission line and 2 substations are needed for the reliable power. The use will not unduly increase traffic or congestion. The transmission lines and 2 substations won't increase traffic, and they've actually provided a traffic control plan that will be followed during construction, so they minimize any impacts to the residents and businesses traversing the roadways along the work that they're going to be doing. It will not cause significant air, odor, water, noise, or light pollution. Again, these are overhead power lines and 2 substations, so there'll be minimal impacts with those type of items. All sanitation requirements will be met. Again, there's really no need for sanitation requirements for this type of use. It will be adequately landscape buffered and screened, though the substations will be having that. As you know, overhead power lines will be a little more visible, but again, they are addressing what they can. The use will not otherwise be detrimental to health, safety, welfare, or for the future and current residents. And that's, again, the reliable power will be providing the service that they need for ensuring that they have reliable power for their businesses and homes. And then the supplemental standards are met for specific uses. And this is where they needed to get the variance to the Board of Adjustment, which they did. So case number P-2023-0045, 30, in there, that was approved by the Board of Adjustment with some stipulations that the applicant will be meeting. So they have met that requirement. So staff recommends that the Board of County Commissioners find the following: that the proposed special use by review application is in general conformance to the Elbert County Comprehensive Plan. The proposed special use meets all the criteria for the Elbert County zoning regulations. It is generally compatible with existing and allowable land uses in the surrounding area. And the proposed special use will not result in significant impact to the health, safety, and welfare of the residents and landowners in the surrounding area. The Planning Department, again, will, is a recommendation for approval to the Board of County Commissioners for the core special use by review with 4 conditions, and the case number is SU 2023-0174. The Planning Commission also recommended approval to the Board of County Commissioners by a vote of 5-0 with the 4 conditions for the same case. And the 4 conditions that need to be met include: the applicant will be required to remove the public hearing signs within 7 days of the decision by the Board of County Commissioners. The special use by review must commence within 2 years of the Board of County Commissioners' approval. The use by must be reviewed annually by the Community and Economic Development Department for just the first 4 years of construction and operation to verify compliance with stipulations and code requirements. And the 4th one is the applicant must submit the formal applications to Elbert County for a site development plan and a minor plat for each of the 2 substations, Outback and Spring Valley, within 180 days. This is the same stipulation that was with the minor 1041, and this is the one that supports the variance application they had that had the Board of Adjustment stipulation that was very similar to this one. So the motion, if you so choose, is to approve the case SU-2023-0174 for the core special use by review with the 4 conditions that is located along County Road 174 between Kiowa Bennett Road and County Road 21. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Do we have any questions for staff at this time? Sandra, I do have one. In the conditions, you had if you could roll back to those. There we go. Number 3, For number 3, the first, okay, so the first 4 years of construction, that would be a separate time clock for each substation, or 4 years from the beginning of the first?
Correct. It'll be reviewed annually. So I guess once it starts to be triggered for the special use by review, once it's approved by the Board of County Commissioners, I think the clock really starts sort of ticking. Every year you're supposed to do a review. This one, though, because the use being overhead power lines and substations, while many of the uses in the special use by review are uses that create more could potentially create more disturbance for neighbors around them. The limit was just for 4 years for that to be checked to make sure that they meet the stipulations. Even once, if it were beyond that, the stipulation still would apply, that it wouldn't disregard after 4 years. They don't have to meet any of the other stipulations or anything. It's just that annual check to make sure that they meet the conditions. And if their work for some reason somehow ends up being beyond 4 years, I would think the county would have the inspections and the review that are necessary before they give the final sign-off and the green tag for the project. But I would anticipate, because of the need for the power in the area, that I think Corps is trying to move forward as timely as they can. So with that, I can defer to them for that information.
Okay, thank you. I know I think the chart we saw previously had the outback construction in 29, so it's just potentially outside that window. So thank you. With that, I'll turn this back over to Corps. Thank you.
There we go. All right. Hi, again. Brooke Hines with Burns & McDonnell, representing Corps. The presentation that I have, we did 2 very similar presentations so they could stand on their own. So I will be brief on this second one. So thank you again for giving us this opportunity this afternoon. And this is doing a presentation on the Elbert County System Improvement Project, a special use by review. As I had mentioned earlier in the 1041, Corps is one of the largest nonprofit cooperative in Colorado, serving 11 counties with over 175,000 members. It provides electric power to more than 375,000 residents, making it the largest rural electric cooperative in Colorado, and it also serves the northwest portion of Elbert County. And as Sandra showed earlier, this is the location of the proposed 115 double circuit transmission line and 2 new substations, Spring Valley and Outback, and it will be connecting to the existing Kiowa Brick Center 115 kV line, shown as the yellow dashed line on the right side. Poles, as I mentioned earlier, are going to range in height from 80 to 115 feet with spans of 400 to 500 feet. And ideally, the need for this project, as I outlined earlier in the 1041, the 3 substations that are providing service to the area, Homestead, Elizabeth, and Kiowa, are over 50% capacity. So this project is needed for reliability and will be able to meet the demand that is increasing in the area as well as existing demand. The Elbert County Comprehensive Plan, as I mentioned in the 1041 PowerPoint, states that this is the area, the western part of the county, that's going to continue to experience population growth as populations shift from Denver. And the project is located, as you can see on this slide, in an area where there is a gap in utilization, and this will help to fill that gap. The timeline, as I mentioned earlier, we've met with you all a couple of times to introduce the project. We've had 2 open houses, one in October of 2022, March of 2023. We've met with developers. We've met with Elbert County Environmental Alliance and have gone through variance in August of 2023 and with approval and Planning Commission on February the 6th. Corps has put up a project website, has had a lot of meetings, as I mentioned earlier, with developers, and public hearing noticing for the project was done, as I mentioned earlier, through a mailer to landowners. We used the 1,320-foot radius mailer from the assessor's office. We did a newspaper announcement, and signs are posted in the project area. And as Sandra mentioned earlier, we met the special use by review approval criteria, A through G, and on the 2, the transmission line under transmission line A, section 2, we met that criteria with a variance approval, as well as the under substation B, that was also met with a variance approval. And again, the transmission, or the anticipated schedule for the transmission line and both substations. As you can see, Spring Valley substation and transmission line proposing construction this summer and fall, with Outback to follow in 2028. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for the applicant? Alrighty. Seeing none, I would open for public comment on this. Okay. Seeing none, I'll close public comment. And I guess, ma'am, I would ask if the conditions of approval were acceptable to the applicant.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So with that, I would accept a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve SUR 2023-00174 Core Electric Cooperative Special Use by Review, recognizing this is the implementation of the 1041.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the SUR. Applicant has approved or accepted the conditions. If there's any final comment, or, no. I just wanted to kind of highlight from the presentation the fact that the current substations are nearing capacity and the ability to actually shut one down to do maintenance. That does require additional substations. It's kind of the same position we faced when the reliability line between Kiowa and off up into the brick house was proposed. So we had the ability to have power feeding from 2 directions, so maintenance could be done and not leave people at the end of an extension cord that can be unplugged at any time and leave a community without. So I know nobody prays for new power lines, but sometimes they are necessary. So we do have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. I would accept a motion to close public hearing on this item.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we close the public hearing on SUR 2023-0174.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close public hearing. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, that motion carries. We're out of public hearing. To Mark, I don't believe we have any other land use business today. So that completes the work we have on today's agenda. I would accept a motion to adjourn for the day.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Does anyone object? Okay. No? Okay. So I would take that as unanimous ayes. We are adjourned. Thank you.